Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Melusi Mapena, Honorable Mxolisi Dukwana, the Honorable Members of the Free State Legislature, the Honorable Members of the Executive Council, the Chief Whip of the Legislature, the Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, the Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Members of the Free State Legislature, distinguished guests, members of the Fourth Estate, Dumelang Sanbonani, good day, goeiedag. We are gathered here today, 1 year before the general elections. The 7th Democratic Legislature will mark a great progress since our constitutional democracy. The legislature intends to build upon this progress and our healthy developmental agenda to strengthen nation building and unite our people. It is our legacy. Over the past 4 years, we have built a good legacy. We've covered so much ground together, yet our path is lengthening before our eyes. Our goal of building a flourishing egalitarian society must not succumb in the face of adversity. At any rate, the fruits of our work must stand the test of time. From the successful coordination of the Free State Province Address in Bloemfontein, the provincial budget speech in Garib Dam, to the taking the legislature to the people in the form of departmental votes tabling across 5 districts, we can claim that we are on course with legislature having assumed all constitutional responsibility in the events of the legislature. We enter the Workers' Month 2023 exactly 3 years since the advent of the COVID-19 disease outbreak with its devastating effects on humanity and economy. The kind of lessons the workers of the world can deduct from the impact of COVID-19 is that they are all connected. Workers across the world worked tirelessly to protect humanity from destruction by producing ideas and innovations that brought the scourge to a halt. During this month, we will take forward the legacy, quicken the progress made in protecting the workers' rights and social justice. We'll therefore use the upcoming Workers' Parliament to take stock of progress made since our last summit to address key concerns raised by different federations in our province. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we draw lessons from the bleak picture that characterized the past few months. Among the events of the few months is the Jagersfontein disaster, where Mantailing Dam wall collapsed, causing devastation, loss of lives, and many injured. It also brought other pressures to the local economy, such as prolonged health conditions, the environmental degradation and destruction of required infrastructure for sustainable livelihood. This kind of disaster was the first in the province since the Mary's-Parade disaster of the 22nd February 1994 in Melody, Virginia, in which 17 people lost their lives and several houses were demolished. Consistent with our legacy of oversight, we joined other stakeholders to provide relief to the area as soon as the crisis occurred. We will remain in close contact with the people of Jagersfontein by working closely with the provincial government, the municipality, and social partners until the social conditions of the people improve convincingly. Honorable members, during the period under review, the legislature bemoaned the loss of our hard-working member and chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, and Office of the Premier. We will always remember Honorable Smith, otherwise known as Sandlana, for his commitment to the struggle, for his love for the people, and his idiosyncratic jokes. A special dedication to another former member of this House, Mr. Pule Herbert Isaac Tate Mahwe, or simply the best as he was affectionately known, who left us unceremoniously 2 months ago. Not only did we become the best performing province in the matric results during his tenure, but he also engraved the legacy of success. He invigorated a sense of belief in our children that everyone has the potential to become the best. We will remain indebted to his wonderful work ethics as the MEC for Education. Recently, we also lost a former member of this House and Premier, an activist, Ms. Frances Beatrice Mashov, as a Premier and throughout her professional career, an activist and leader, was an embodiment of a true servant of the people. Lastly, we also remember Frini Jinwala, founding Speaker of our Democratic Parliament of South Africa, who passed away on the 12th of January, 2023. In his tribute to Dr. Jinwala, President Cyril Ramaphosa said, and I quote, "Frini Jinwala epitomized the ethos and expectations of our then fledgling constitution and played an important role in building the capacity of Parliament through transformation of activists and leaders into lawmakers, and who were in turn able to transform our country," close quote. We remain proud of this good legacy left by Dr. Jinwala. May the souls of the departed rest in eternal peace. Honorable members, the presentation of this budget comes at a time when the country is still battling with the effects of gender-based violence and femicide, which continue to haunt us. As part of our advocacy campaigns, we call for strong legal action to be taken against the perpetrators of gender-based violence. Despite the observable or perceived leniency of the law in matters of this tenure before the courts, this should serve as a true lesson in many abusers that gender-based violence is not an option. Our participation within the established sector forums, such as the Speakers Forum, Secretaries Association of South Africa, Commonwealth Parliament Association South Africa branch, as mechanisms for cooperative governance is critical. Within the platform of Speakers Forum, we continue to seek solutions to the legislative sector budget challenges within complex fiscal environment, working together with our presiding officers, portfolio and ad hoc committee chairpersons or our whips, members of committees and highly competent staff component. We continue to raise the torch for many South Africans. Honorable members, Chapter 9 of the National Development Plan, NDP Vision 2030, articulates mechanisms for South Africa's quest in developing a capable developmental state. The NDP focuses on sustainable economic growth and development within the context of thriving constitutional democracy. It recognizes the importance of all branches of the state working together within cooperative governance framework to deliver on this country's vision. Within this framework, a strong, independent South African legislative sector is vital to success. Deputy Speaker, a philosophical account of an egalitarian society, it is a society where all people are considered equal regardless of gender, race, religion, or age. There is no class system in an egalitarian society, but relatively equal access to income and wealth. This vote depicts our efforts of continuously seeking to improve our systems to influence outcomes in order to change the lives of our people for the better. We consider institutional leadership critical in driving and shaping policy directives, developing contingency plans, impact analysis, and the growing risk amid budget constraints. Essentially, we have classified our institutional programs to remain within the policy regime of government and the sector and to maintain a good legacy of our democratic breakthrough. Honorable members, it remains a singular honor for me to be able to present the budget vote for the Free State Legislature in this August House. On constitutional mandate, the Free State Legislature derives its mandate from the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996. The Constitution confers on the legislature the power to pass for the Free State Province, laws for the Free State Province to the extent indicated in the Constitution in Schedule 4 and 5, read with Section 104 and Section 1141 of the Constitution. The Constitution also confers upon the Free State Legislature the power to conduct oversight over the Provincial Executive Council and other provincial organs of the state in terms of Section 1142 of the Constitution. To give effect to oversight and lawmaking, the legislature is required by Section 118 of the Constitution to facilitate public involvement in legislative and other processes of the legislature. On the 20th of April, 1964, Dr. Nelson Mandela delivered a speech during the treason trial in which he responded to the accusations by the apartheid government that the South African struggle was influenced by foreigners and communists. He said, "I admire the British and American democratic systems. I admire the doctrine of separation of powers, as well as the independence of its judiciary. The Magna Carta, the Petition of Rights, and the Bill of Rights never failed to arouse my admiration." It is these ideals, firmly engraved in our Constitution, that we seek to protect and defend. The role of the three arms of the state, namely 1, Parliament, 2, Executive, and 3, Judiciary, must be respected and safeguarded. Therefore, there cannot be any justification of continue having certain powers and authority concentrated in a single arm of the state. Each arm must be supported and allowed independently to execute its constitutional obligations without fragmentation of mandates. Parliament makes laws and the executive executes the laws. The judiciary interprets the law. We will continue to maintain oversight over the executive in terms of Section 114 of the Constitution. We, however, remain concerned that our core mandate of lawmaking, public participation and oversight continue to be impeded, as earlier said, by budget constraints. While our members must be commended for the sterling work they continue to do through portfolio committees and other established mechanisms, the continuously decreasing baseline is a serious concern. On Program 1, Institutional Leadership, we have started 2022-2023 financial year with a deeper focus on comprehensive analysis of our spending versus outcomes. We looked at the degree for which our plans are intertwined with the needs of the people. This vote depicts our efforts of continuously seeking to improve our systems to influence these outcomes. We consider institutional leadership critical in driving and shaping policy directives, developing contingency plans. The sectoral engagements we embark on as the legislature also ensure that we interact with different sectors and stakeholders in our province. These platforms play a critical role in giving our people the opportunity to suggest solutions to take the institution forward. In this way, we eliminate social distance between the legislature, government, and the people. This is in line with our operating procedure to involve government as members of executive in addressing matters of public importance. We strive to develop plans that have visible impact in the work of the legislature to the citizens of this province and our stakeholders. We have undertaken a review of our annual performance and aligned our strategic document as per recommendations of the Auditor General. We cited strong financial management and performance information as critical to the functioning of the legislature. We dedicate considerable time to development and review of organizational policies. Most of them are now at the final stage of consultation processes. The report from the bargaining management team is due for submission to the accounting officer. We continue to strengthen our administrative capacity by focused recruitment when new vacancies arise. Recently, approval has been granted for advertising of 8 funded vacant posts. They include that of the Hansard editor, the deputy secretary, admin assistant, procurement officer, senior asset officer, constituency liaison officer, chief audit executive, admin assistant, institutional support services, and we have also earmarked 6 vacant unfunded posts, which we are unable to fill because of the financial constraints. Honorable members, our commitment to clean governance is undisputed and clean audit remains our goal. The legislature received an unqualified audit opinion for period of 2021-2022 financial year. In the main, the Auditor General insisted that the legislature need to improve on consequence management to achieve clean audit status. We have since managed to reduce our irregular transaction with 50% arising from 2021-2022 financial year to 43% for the financial year 2022-2023 financial year. A clear post-audit action plan addressing matters raised by the Auditor General has yielded positive results with the improvement in financial statements and performance information, and we intend to continue implementing that plan. Our governance structures, such as the Audit Committee, is functional and monitors progress on administration very closely. Furthermore, our Budget and Oversight Committee continues to play a pivotal role oversight over the financial administration. Honorable members, on organizational development environment, Deputy Speaker, the Free State Legislature currently has 194 approved posts, that is in the organogram, on its, and has 158 posts filled, 139 permanent employees, 13 contract employees linked to the term of office of the Speaker, and the contract employees with equates to 81%. For this financial year, the institution absorbed for individuals on an internship program with the purpose of giving them exposure and vital work experience. We are in the process of conducting an overhaul review of the organizational structure to determine how the organization needs to improve and best conducted in line with annual business and workforce planning processes or in response to key events such as changes in technology, processes and priorities. The review will also investigate the grading system and disparities which exist in the institution. Cheers. On capacity building, training and development, honorable members, it is through education that we can help build a sustainable livelihoods and eliminate dependency welfare across all levels of society. To achieve this feat, we learn from one of the leading philosophers of the 20th century, Paulo Riclas Neves Freire, when he wrote that, I quote, "For apart from inquiry, apart from praxis, individuals cannot be truly human. Knowledge emerges only through invention and reinvention, through the restless, impatient, continuing, hopeful inquiry human beings pursue in the world, with the world and with each other. True generosity consists precisely in fighting to destroy the causes which nourish false charity." Close quote. In addition to the internal work skills plan, the legislature is part of the capacity building program initiated by the legislative sector support. The purpose of the LLS program is to strengthen the skills and knowledge of not only members, but that is MPLs, but also the staff across all levels. The Free State Legislature identified and helped nine management officials to register in a one-year advanced certificate in governance leadership program offered by the University of Witwatersrand, NQF Level 7. The overall purpose of the program is to enhance the performance of legislators to execute the constitutional responsibilities through a professional development program anchored in the core functions of the legislature. Our financial aid program is bearing fruit as our officials are increasingly taking advantage of this benefit. Through hard work and commitment, more managed to achieve their higher qualifications in recent years, Currently, 15 of our staff members are furthering studies, and 90% of those are postgraduate qualifications, and 6 officials completed their qualifications for 2022-2023 financial year. Through our financial aid program, the legislature has been able to produce PhD, master's degree, postgraduate diplomas, degrees and certificate holders from various universities. We wish to congratulate all our employees who formed graduate during this graduation season. On public procurement to support local municipal communities, the revised preferential procurement regulations framework are now in place, following a declaration of invalidity by the court in 2021. However, this does not negatively impact on our commitment to competitive, fair, transparent, equitable, and cost-effective public procurement. Through these principles, previously disadvantaged groups such as blacks, women, and people with disability are enrolled in the mainstream economy. We continue to support local economic development by encouraging and support suppliers in rural areas of our province to take advantage of economic opportunities arising from the people-centered supply chain processes. On Program 2, the core business, honorable members, the slow process in finalizing and adopting the legislative sector bill within the sector is hampering the harmonization of administrative functions envisaged by the sector in attainment of uniform approach to practices, processes, and procedure in the sector. When we helped in developing the bill and further as signatories to a memorandum of understanding, we supported the regulatory progress. Firstly, assuring the power of legislatures in determining their own budget process, and secondly, the promotion of separation of powers as envisaged by the father of our democracy, Dr. Nelson Mandela, 59 years ago. We need to appreciate the importance of the framework and implement it through adoption of annual committee programs. These programs extend the existing arrangements beyond consideration of reports, oversight visits, and public hearings on proposed legislation before committees. This we do to realize the provisions of Section 118 of the Constitution that calls the legislature to facilitate public involvement. On legislation and oversight, to ensure that the constitutional mandate is achieved, our work is guided by the sector oversight model. SOM is a framework by which the oversight is informed by performance evaluation and budget analysis. All portfolio committees, which are constituted by proportional representatives of the parties in the legislature, have generic powers and functions, and they include inter alia, to monitor and oversee the work of departments and provincial entities, to consider bills referred to by the House or the Speaker, conduct oversight visits to government projects, and provide recommendations. The portfolio committees have the power to summon any person to appear before them, give evidence, or produce documents. They may require any person or the institution to report to them. On lawmaking, honorable members, during the last financial year, we made a commitment to give urgent attention to the process of review of the rules and orders of the legislature. We are pleased to report to this House that a comprehensive review of the rules and orders of the legislature was conducted and concluded in June 2022. The Speaker has also framed the rule as required in order to respond to gaps identified during the application. Following the adoption of these rules, we are guaranteed a smooth running of the House and its committees until the sector attains its uniformity. Honorable Deputy Speaker, our regular meetings with our public protector continue to sharpen our cooperation and collaboration as encapsulated in the Memorandum of Understanding. Our recent meeting addressed, among other issues, implementation of remedial action recommended by the public protector, petitions, all other matters of concurrent oversight competence, We maintain this relationship with other Chapter 9 and 10 institutions and with stakeholders such as the House of Traditional Leaders and civil society organizations, working together with Commission for Gender Equality and the African Women in Leadership Network. We will host an event to celebrate the life of Ms. Frinich Jinwala, the first Speaker of our democratic parliament. We'll continue to work with all organizations that support democracy in order to ensure that we champion democracy as envisaged in our vision. We must work together to build a society based on the principles of Ubuntu, respect, and dignity for all. We'll continue to work with different stakeholders, Chapter 9 and 10 institutions as mentioned, traditional leaders, faith-based organizations, youth formations, community-based organizations to shape the future of our province. We'll also continue to educate our people through our public participation and education programs for the people to know their rights and responsibilities. On public participation and education, in terms of the sector oversight model, a unit responsible for public participation in the legislature should play a key role in assisting with the coordination and liaison with civil society groups. During the period under review, the Office of the Speaker, with the help of the Public Participation Unit, successfully hosted the following activities across the province: the Workers' Parliament, the Youth Parliament, the Gender-Based Violence Summit, the Heritage Day celebrations, Disability Parliament. A multi-stakeholder team has been established to prepare reports of all activities and to track progress on implementation. These activities remain important mechanisms to eliminate social distance between the state and our communities. However, public participation is impeded once more by inadequate budget to the legislature. We are at the level of Speakers Forum working to address anomaly to ensure greater consultation before annual allocations to the legislature are finalized. On the maintenance of the 4th Ratsal, the Deputy Speaker, the conditions of the 4th Ratsal building have deteriorated to an unprecedented level due to neglect. An amount of 2.5 million rand was allocated towards maintenance of the 4th Ratsal by the Provincial Treasury during 2022-2023 financial year. We are not happy regarding the progress towards the maintenance of this building. On modernization and refurbishment of the 4th Ratsal chamber, the modernization process of the 4th Ratsal has been reactivated with the installation of electronic sound system commencing this week, and it is expected to be completed in the first week of July 2023. The process of refurbishment of the furniture is also ongoing. All this work shall restore the 4th Ratsal as an esteemed plenary facility, a magnificent heritage and tourism attraction site. On Program 3, International Relations, Deputy Speaker, this program has not yet been incorporated in the appropriation bill as a separate program. Therefore, its activities will continue to be funded under Program 1, Administration, until the decision of the legislative sector to effect separate funding for this program is approved and gazetted by Treasury. We wish to report under international work that the Constitution of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Free State Sub-Branch was adopted by the House during 2022 and that CPA Sub-Branch has also been launched in 2022. The CPA Constitution provides, among other issues, clarity on roles, rights, and responsibilities of current members of the legislature, members of the executive, and the associate members, and also their participation at all levels. These levels include Commonwealth Women Parliament, CWP, which is also due to be launched upon election of the steering committee members of the CWP. We consider a launch for a CWP to be long overdue, and therefore the finalization of this outstanding matter is critical in operationalizing the CPA matters in full. On members and political parties' support, Section 1162 of the Constitution requires that we provide administrative and financial support to members of political parties. In addition, the Political Party Funding Act, Act number 6 of 2018, was operationalized in 2018 to regulate public and private funding of political parties. For the purpose of this support, we use Budget Program 2 called Facilities for Members and the Political Parties. While funding elections to political parties represented in the legislature came to an end, the Act still provides for members to receive extensive support to enable parties and members to perform work within their political party structures. Whilst the announcement to the House at the previous budget political tabling that financial assistance towards political parties have increased substantially due to the introduction of Political Party Funding Act, we warned of unintended consequences. As a result, the increase has proven to be unsustainable as there is a recorded shortfall over the MTF period. Political parties have a vast range of areas which they must cover as constituency, research, offices, and support, such as constituency, research, offices, and support staff. It is expected that parties will be more responsive in their constituency work to conduct oversight over the legislature by giving the necessary audience to their constituencies. This should also be in line with Rule 36 of the Standing Rules and Orders of the Legislature in terms of submission of constituency reports. Tabling of constituency reports in the House is one of the many mechanisms we employ to hold the executive accountable individually and collectively. We will henceforth administer the process governing constituency report to ensure that they table before the House as required. Honorable members, on appropriation, the budget for vote 2 to be appropriated amounts to 260,059,000 rands, with a further statutory amount of 27,076,000 rands. The total budget allocation, therefore, amounts to 287,135,000 rand. This constitutes a 4.8% decrease compared to the previous financial year's allocation. We appreciate the support from the Provincial Treasury in ensuring that additional program of international relations introduced by the sector will be reflected in Vote 2 of the Legislature in the Appropriation Bill. Therefore, our budget structure will soon reflect all 4 programs and not only 3 programs as it is the case right now. The allocated funding per program is as follows. On Program 1, Administration, we have allocated an amount of 161,983,000 rands. The budget caters for the Office of the Speaker, including the budget allocations to portfolio committees, Office of the Secretary to the Legislature, and Finance Division. On Program 2, Facilities and Benefits for Members and Political Parties, we allocated an amount of 51,419,000 rand. On Program 3, Parliamentary Services, we have allocated 46,657,000 rand. The purpose of this program is to ensure that the core procedural services such as handset, legislation and oversight, and legal services are catered for. On direct charge, members' remuneration is budgeted at 27,076,000 rands. This allocation is aligned with the recommendations by the Commission on Remuneration of public office bearers. In executing this budget, we want to impress on the constitutional mandate vested with the legislature and the fact that we require a well-resourced budget to carry out these mandates of oversight, public participatory and lawmaking. The practice where the executive historically assisted in funding the legislature events such as budget votes and State of the Province address have ceased. This was done to fulfill the constitutional responsibilities of the legislature in terms of the lawmaking process and public participation. The legislature is now solely responsible for these costs. However, the budget allocation did not provide for these additional costs. Pursuant to the legislative requirements that consultation must take place between the Speaker and the MEC for Treasury regarding the allocation to the legislature, the allocations remain unsatisfactory. During the engagements between the Premier, MEC for Treasury, and the Speaker in 2022, an undertaking was made to discuss the budget of the legislature. The purpose of these engagements was to address the underfunding in the adjustment. We are looking forward to those engagements still. In conclusion, Deputy Speaker, let me thank all presiding officers and members of the legislature for their commitment and dedication to the work of the legislature and its committees. In this environment, your nights are shorter and your days are desecrated. You are governed by penitential thoughts away from your families. Still, you bear a thankless work, and at any measure, your adversaries are always lurking. By standing with our people, you have held the fort, as it was explicated by Noam Chomsky. Changes and progress very rarely are gifts from above. They come out of the struggles from below. I also want to thank the staff of the legislature under the leadership of Mr. Machaka for the sterling work they do in supporting the members and ensuring that they make the work easy for them and ensure that all the programs are a success. I also want to thank members of the executive for your continued attendance to the plenaries of this House and committees of the legislature when called upon to do so. Thank you to the Secretary of the Legislature once more, and thank you all for your attention.
Central TV.